right, let's go to Tony. Thanks for holding, Tony. You want to talk about the World Bank? God bless you. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Alex. Wow, earlier this week I got through to the great George Norrie on Coast to Coast. Must be my lucky week.
George is awesome.
Yeah, I should get me one of them lotto tickets.
So what's on your mind, sir?
Just a couple things real quick. I just was wondering if you were going to have, or when you were going to have Karen Hudris back on the show. She's been coming out with some really good interviews the last month. And
Now, remind me, who is she?
Karen Hudris. She's the World Bank whistleblower.
Oh, yeah. I saw on the screen you were talking about World Bank. Yeah, we had her on the Nightly News and here, and I think she's told her tale. It's very interesting. It just fits in what we already know about the World Bank, so we might get her back on sometime. But what's your take on all the other issues that are taking place?
You're pretty much on point. And, yeah, that's about all I had to say, except to bump some Clash, Know Your Rights, for your bumper music.
Oh, yeah, play some Clash. And what's the name of the song?
Know Your Rights.
I think I've heard that song. It's a pretty good song. Thank you so much, sir. All right. Let's go ahead and talk to Wesley in Mississippi. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, brother.
I just want to say, of course, I've said this before, but the Nathan iodine and the coffee are absolutely amazing. The coffee, man, I'm so glad you came out with this. I've been hoping for an organic type coffee I can trust for a while now, and
I just hope we can get more of it because it's we're selling a lot of it of the bags we got, and it's very popular. And there's only a certain season we can get it. I wish I would have bought more from the Chiapas folks down there, but it's my favorite coffee. I mean, I'm sure on the right day you could find something better somewhere, but it's just I've been drinking this coffee for years, and now we've put it out as our own brand. So I'm glad you like it, brother.
Yeah, I love it. Well, the point I want to make is I love how, especially in the recent years, all the yuppies, as you like to call them, get so excited when they see new movies and new TV shows, such as like James Woods on the Science Channel or Morgan Freeman or this Almost Human stuff, or they hear about these new technologies claiming that will give us superpowers and make us immortal. Or
that's right. They're rolling out all the microchips and everything like it's so sexy. It'll make you live forever. It's so cool. That's how they're selling the rat poison.
My 2 points on this are like, okay, first off, if you're Christian, the electronic tattoos and the RFID chip, that should just scream mark of the beast at you right there. But, and number two, you're not part of the royal bloodlines. You're not part of the elite. You're not getting this technology. This isn't for us. This is for them. All these immortality and all this, reading people's minds, you're not getting this, buddy. You're a peon to them. They are the ones who are getting all this technology. So, stop getting so hyped up about it as if it's for everybody. And it's probably going to be way too expensive. Well,
that's right. Any technology we're given has the Trojan horse of surveillance and microwaving us and controlling us. The globalist, it's like the great George Carlin said, education will never get better, it'll get worse because the owners don't want you informed. No kidding. Can you imagine what George Carlin would say today with 2 + 2 = 5? And that you can misspell and it's still spelled right. I mean, or if a teacher corrects people that are using improper English, they get fired because Ebonics is now a proper language. Oh, yeah, I mean, folks say there's Ebonics with black folks. You ought to go hang out in East Texas with the white people out there that that have their own language that can't even understand each other. It's the same deal. You're supposed to get rural or ignorant people that don't know how to speak the proper language and inform them of it, not say we're going to get rid of language altogether because people couldn't adopt it. Pretty soon we'll just be running around like cavemen, like Barney Rubble, going, hoo, 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 to each other. Me want woman, me want food. It's like the old joke of how did Arnold Schwarzenegger ask Maria Shriver out, man, woman, eat. Pennsylvanians coerced into giving cheek swab at voluntary checkpoint, but it's not really voluntary. This is a big issue happening nationwide. DrudgeReport.com carried it yesterday into today. In fact, I think it's still up there. Yeah, you can find it on the middle column. And this is the type of tyranny that is going on. Separately, talking about political correctness, U.S. Army War College seeks to remove General Robert E. Lee Stonewall Jackson. The British infantry have studied Stonewall Jackson and teach at their main West Point style school that he's the greatest strategy commander of all time. Stonewall Jackson, who died in battle and could take forces 10 times smaller and beat larger forces. I mean, it's just military strategy, but no, now their names must be expunged. No one can even see it. I mean, this is just the total political correctness that is running rampant across this country and across this world. That's some of what's coming up. And then more on Obamacare. There's been some big Obamacare level developments. So here's a headline right here out of Newsweek, the case that could topple Obamacare. And I'm predicting they're going to get rid of some of it, but not all of it, because the insurance companies and the banks get what they want unless there's enough heat on this system. But right now, Kenny has been holding a long time. Kenny from Ohio, then we'll go to Jane and many others that are holding. Kenny, thank you for calling. What is on your mind today on this Wednesday edition?
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
Good, brother.
Well, I seen a couple days ago on Infowars.com that Connecticut had passed a bill with the labeling of GMO foods. And I have two quick questions about this. My first one, will other states follow, and when do you think they will? And my second question is, I live in Ohio, and I live near Amish country. And I've always wondered, would it be safer for me and my family to buy and drink the milk that the Amish have than to buy the stuff that they have at the store?
Well, I personally am going to tell you what I would do here, and you can make your own decision. We in this office have both regular creamer for folks in their coffee, organic creamer from the store, but it's been homogenized, basically turned into liquid cheese, and they boil it, ultra homogenized, or pasteurized, I guess is the proper word, pasteurization, boiling it. And then we have Mennonite. It's like Amish light, not of the original German/Swiss folks that came over here 300 years ago and now are all over the world, bringing prosperity to wherever they go. Great people. The Mennonites are kind of the same deal, but are just more of a modern coalition of groups or spinoffs. And we buy and drink Mennonite milk. And I have Mennonite milk at my house. And I would get it from Amish, too, if they were around, but it's excellent. And they go to the farmers markets. They would come to the Austin farmers markets. And then under free association, if you wanted to go to the back of their van, you could buy milk that was milked that morning. And if there's any contamination, they have to throw it all out. Instead, they want ultra pasteurization, so big pharma, the big pharma-run agribusiness, that's what it is, can put the GMO, hormones in it, you name it, blood can be in it, feces, you name it, and they boil it to where it kills the bacteria, but they can feed you basically, you're getting as much pus sometimes as you're getting milk. They make the cows overwork, their breasts are twice the size that they should be, the udders are exploding, they get all sorts of diseases. By the way, I work for a large animal vet, so I've gone and worked on dairy cows. I'm not going to say any more. It's unbelievable what the big GMO ones do versus the cows that are taken care of that are very happy. And regular milk is not even milk. Regular milk is basically garbage. And we should, with the market, demand that we get whole raw milk. But the feds and states have laws blocking it. Just 50 years ago, most of the milk you would get was raw, unpasteurized, that the milkman would drop off, and it was the best in the world. They want stuff that can last weeks. That's why they're going to the super ultra pasteurized that never basically goes bad, like McDonald's food under glass, and radiating the meat, the chicken, the poultry, the fish, so they don't have to clean it. And they actually spray live virus vaccines, as they call them, on most of the meat now that causes incredible intestinal disorders. They've been doing that for 7 years since the FDA approved it. So they can actually feed you rotten chicken, rotten beef, rotten, you name it. They take rotten dead animals, put them in giant vats. They call it offal, grind it up and feed it to cows. They feed blood of slaughtered cows to calves. Cows aren't supposed to eat meat, folks. They're herbivores. Pigs are omnivores, so are we. So there you go, ladies. A tiger is a carnivore. So I hope that answers your question. What was the other one?
And the other one was with what Connecticut did with their labeling of GMO foods. How long do you think that other states will follow exactly what Connecticut has done?
Well, I haven't really been following the Connecticut situation. Guys, will you search and see Connecticut votes for labeling? To show my ignorance, I wasn't even aware of that. I knew they were having a battle. I didn't know that had happened yet. I know California failed via fraud and lobbying by big corporations, and I know Oregon just failed, unfortunately, and other states. But I think we should just vote with our eyeballs and only try to get what is organic. But I appreciate your call. Really, really good points. Yeah, there it is. This is the time Connecticut government signs first GMO labeling laws in the U.S., and that happened 4 days ago, 5 days ago. So very good news from AFP. All right, let's jam another call. Thank you for holding, Jane. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I'm actually calling today, Alex, because you have to bear with me. I'm a little nervous. I used to work for the federal government. I worked for them for almost 13 years. And I worked for the Department of Veteran Affairs. And, you know, your show was primarily responsible for waking me up. But, you know, I kind of knew things were awry when I first, about 3 or 4 years before I left the VA. Just the way veterans were being treated, substandard care. And now I see with this legislation with Obamacare, I mean, isn't that a direct contradiction to the HIPAA laws? I mean, what is your feelings on that?
Well, that's what Obamacare really does, is let them charge you more for less care. And you're right, there are laws saying you've got to take care of disabled veterans, and that's why they're really pushing to get private charities to take care of them, because they're planning to just get rid of it. And then they know the vets and their families are going to probably be one of the biggest groups that's going to rebel when they're robbed and their contract is violated, because there is money to take care of the veterans. And it's outrageous, and it just shows the sky's the limit if we don't get this government back in line. And, you know, we criticize government all day because it's been hijacked. I was going to tell Lou Rockwell, but ran out of time. I found the most awake group is military, government people, and then police. Not because they're angels. They're in the middle of it. They know how corrupt it is. A lot of people go into the military, they don't agree with me, and come out agreeing because they're like, wow, you weren't lying. And so they're going to take the government employees' pensions as well. Look, they've done this in other countries. What do you think?
I mean, I remember when I worked at the VA, I've left my job, Alex. I don't work there anymore.
I understand.
I resigned because I couldn't take it. I mean, I'll give you for instance.
Well, I'll tell you what, do this. You've already held long enough. I got to get a special guest on for about 10, 15 minutes. If you'll hold, I'll come back and give you 4 or 5 minutes, Jane, to finish up with what you saw in the VA. And I can hear the shaking in your voice that upsets you so much you have humanity. I'm the same way. I started talking about CPS court and got really shook up because I couldn't help all those people. And I couldn't, I actually helped some of them. I couldn't be around it. And it really hurt me bad, and also made me have a lot of hatred for people in the government, so I had to actually quit helping those children. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. Now, Jane held over. She worked for, I think she said 13, 14 years for the VA, Veterans Affairs. It's in the news today. They're going to cut massively the funding for disabled veterans. And they already get, whenever I talk about VA care, there's some good people in the VA, but the way the government treats it with the money, most of it goes for PR. I've had all the big Veterans Affairs groups that fight for this on over the years. We should have them back on. When I talk about folks in Missouri and New York and Virginia dying from flies eating their brains. I'm not kidding. When vets that are in the VA have problems like dementia, whatever, they strap you down. They don't take care of you. Don't change your bed. They lock you in there, and then the flies go up your nose, and you can look this up, and lay eggs in the sinus, and then eat their brain. A term the VA internally began calling maggoting. I don't know if our guest knows about that, but if you just tuned in, you think I'm joking. Search engine, maggots kill veterans in VA, or flies kill veterans. I'm not kidding. They had cases where roaches are eating people, because roaches can actually start eating on you by the hundreds. And, of course, they're hiring a bunch of foreigner doctors in many cases that aren't even really certified doctors. When you go in there, there's like SWAT team guys everywhere, bossing everywhere around. They try to give you drugs, not surgeries you need. It's truly hellish. And Weldon Henson's an Air Force veteran. He goes into the VA, works here in our office, and he just says they're incredibly rude to him now. It didn't used to be like that. He just got out of the Air Force 8 years ago. So it's a New World Order world. It's not a man's world, not a patriot's world. It's a tyrant's world right now. And she sounded upset. She said, that's terrible. I had to quit. I couldn't do it. I don't know what she's going to tell us. But, they run from bad to worse is the issue. And they hate our veterans, and they've always abused our veterans. I mean, they stole after World War I the bonuses they were supposed to get. They never paid them. And when the veterans protested, they killed a bunch of them. Shot them and rode over them with horses. And so the government's been a stinking group of crooks for a long time. And the cowards in the government really hate veterans because they're people that will actually stand up and fight. And then they take the other veterans that are typecast and will do what they think and put them in the big city police departments and then say, we're the Taliban, basically. So it's a mix of things. But our veterans are treated like absolute toilet paper by the establishment. Jane, you've got the floor. Thanks for holding. Tell us what you were going to say, because it was hard for you to even talk about it. What do you want to tell people about the VA?
I mean, Alex, it was, the employees that work there, and I'm sure they'll vouch for this, they call it the VA way. And what I mean by the VA way is once you've been kind of embedded in the system after you've worked there for a few years, you kind of see it materializing in front of your eyes. I was kind of the nonconformist, if you will. I never really fit into a category. I always sought out jobs where I could work independently from the hospital because I couldn't deal with what was happening in the institution itself. It was disheartening. It was heartbreaking. Veterans. I'll give you an example. This is kind of jumping ahead a little bit. I actually worked on I took minutes for a meeting for the Suicide Rounds Committee. And they had a mandate that they were supposed to meet to prevent veterans from killing themselves. Now, you can go online, you can look it up. It says 22 veterans, I think, a day committing suicide, something to that effect. Well, it was just as bad 5 years ago. And I was fielding phone calls, and I was an admin. I would fill in for my girls, if they went to lunch or something, but I'd pick up the phone, and it'd be a veteran. I worked in mental health, and say, I'm going to kill myself. What do I do? And I had no training. And even though I'd worked in the healthcare field most of my life, I was like, oh, my God. Because I didn't know if the next thing I was going to hear was a gunshot round. It was that scary. And when they finally got around to implementing suicide prevention, it was almost a year after the fact. I mean, a lot of veterans don't know when you go to the patient advocate at your VA, I worked in Division 1, but when you go to the patient advocates actually work for the director. They don't work for the veteran. They're not there to advocate for veterans. They're there to kind of run middle ground for the director. A veteran can't go to a patient advocate and say, my doctor is abusing me, because they'll shut it down immediately. It will get nowhere, and you will get nowhere. And then they'll turn around and they'll punish the veteran for reporting.
Well, what do you think is going to happen now as they cut the treatment and money for disabled veterans that have arms and legs blown off? What do you think is going to happen? Maybe we'll have public execution of veterans as terrorists? Or, I mean, what's the answer here? Just kill all the veterans? Maybe that'll make Obama happy? What do we do?
I mean, my husband is a veteran, Alex. And, you know, when I've slowly seen his, you know, entitlements, I guess, if you will, being taken away.
Yeah, but they're not entitlements. They call it entitlements when somebody's never worked a day in their life and wants a bunch of free stuff. When you sign a contract to be taken care of if you're wounded or hurt, that's not an entitlement. That is, because that's associated with welfare, because they're now calling it entitlements for even wounded veterans to get health care or their pension. That is a contract. That is an agreement. That is a business deal. And it is fraud to not pay it. Go ahead.
Well, they're in breach of contract completely.
That's it. Ma'am, I'm out of time. God bless you, and just have a great Christmas coming up. Man, it's depressing hearing that type of stuff. But we got to talk about it because we ignored it. It's what makes it worse. Gus, you're up next. Dan, Debbie, Rob, and Nakia. That's all the calls we'll have time for when we come back to those folks. A lot of other news up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com.
Hello, this is Hank Hill, and I'm telling you what, you need to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah. Infowars.com.
My judge, what is the secret of the universe?
Infowars.com.
Folks, get your orders in, and also supports the broadcast for the incredible products at InfoWarsLife.com. We're going to end it tonight, that 48-hour special. I'm going to extend it a few hours to get 25% off the fluoride shield that's double the size, 2 ounces, with the Nascent Iodine Survival Shield. That deal will end tonight. I'm going to have them ended at midnight at InfoWarsLife.com. And it's a great gift to give friends and family. You've got to try it, folks. And if you don't really feel the difference and see the difference after one bottle, I'll eat my hat. It just is real science and research behind this. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. There's a new video that I shot yesterday when I did a before dawn 7-mile hike. I got out there at 5:30 in the morning and did a little 7-mile hike out in the hill country outside Austin. And I was by myself and just shot a reflective video while I was out there. And it's up on Infowars.com. We'll put that on screen for TV viewers so they can see where it's at as the featured video. It's Escape the New World Order Titanic is what that video posted on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com is named. And I think it makes some really good points in 10 minutes. Okay, and then the nightly news is coming up tonight, 7 o'clock Central. And I think it's what Leanne McAdoo hosting tonight. We're going to have some breaking intel there as well. Okay, Gus is a former inmate. Is what he says. Gus, thanks for holding and calling. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex, it's an honor. I'd like to say I am a gringo of Hispanic descent, white and black Native American descent, which makes me a racist and a terrorist, according to the...
That's right, and if you want human unity and freedom, you're racist.
That's exactly right. I had to laugh when I read this story earlier today on InfoWars about the NSA feeding the DEA and how they make fake cases in order to prosecute others. You know, in the federal system, there's 2 rules. There's the Rule 35B, which is a court rule, and then there's the Sentencing Guideline 5K1.1, and both of those do the same thing. One's pre-sentencing, one's post-sentencing. Anybody who supplies information and the aid and prosecution of others can get a time cut. And when I was in detention pending the resolution of my case, I was at FDC Miami, and I did 7 years with the feds, and I saw guys in there selling cases. They'd establish weed houses, grow houses, and have people take care of them, and then get them busted. And then... Oh, no, that's how it all works. The government runs almost all the drugs for the big global mafia on record. It was congressional hearings in '97, CIA Inspector General. And again, it's in mainstream news that they manufacture most cases and they're total fraud, or they frame people because they like innocent people. As demonic scum, they enjoy that.
And I don't think the average person, people always said, oh, everybody's innocent in prison. Well, now with DNA, it shows about half the people are completely innocent. And I mean, the system is evil. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, it's absolutely evil. And, back in 2008, I'd say, when I was in there, they started requiring us to give our DNA. And if you ever want to know what's coming for the rest of society, always ask a federal inmate because they do it to us first. They started forcibly taking our DNA around 2008. And if you want to know what Obamacare is like, ask a federal inmate because in the feds we had an ongoing joke. No matter what was wrong with you, they would fix it one of two ways. They would either pull your tooth or give you a prostate exam. That's how they fixed everything.
That's right, and that's what Dr. Blaylock said. In England, it's like that. Watson, for a month, couldn't get in to see a doctor because they just wouldn't. They'd give him a pack with some aspirin in it and a wipey. And just go home and die. And the average person has no idea the hell that's awaiting them. Very good points. Yeah, no, that's what they do. They will give you a cane if you're going blind or a cane if you have bad knees in Cuba. And they'll give you a prostate exam because they like to do that. Or they'll pull a tooth or give you painkillers.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
I want to go to Debbie talking about mystery illness, State Health Department. I don't know what she's going to bring up, but I know people are dying everywhere from a weird bacterial pneumonia that also has microplasms and viruses associated, which has bioweapons spelled all over it when it's a triple threat. I've had family that's died, people that have almost died, sicknesses. Please pray for my uncle, William Hammond, folks, because he's as strong as a horse and, was the whole 9 yards, but it killed his son a few weeks ago, went to his funeral, and my uncle's been in the hospital now for weeks, sedated on oxygen, and it's really tearing up my family. Let's go to Debbie in Texas. What's the mystery illness you're talking about with the State Health Department?
Yeah, they've got out of Conroe. There's 8 people that went into one hospital. 4 of them are dead. They said 2 of them are fighting for their life. They have looked into it. They've doing tests, and they said that they're testing negative for standard strains of flu.
All right, let me stop you. I'm going to have to go into overdrive with you, ma'am. Can you hold in the next segment?
Sure.
Let me just ask you a question. You're saying you're with the State Health Department?
No. I'm not with the State Health Department.
You're saying you talked to them?
No, this is coming out of KHOU out of Houston.
I got it. They're reporting on it, guys. KHOU, mystery illness. Because I've told people weeks ago, this killed Rob Dew's friend in New Jersey, 34 years old. It killed my cousin, Peter Hammond. It's really hurt my uncle, who's been fighting for his life for 2 weeks, William Hammond. And my dad's been sick for a month, and they can't find anything. It looks like a microplasm. And, yeah, there it is. Patients ranging from ages 41 to 68 were admitted. And that's just a hospital that recognizes this is some kind of mystery thing. Because, again, they cannot find out what it is. They think it's a microplasm. So I'm going to come back to you, ma'am, and let you make your point. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other members of the fluorine family that are added to Western water supplies are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the people that drink it. So the question is, why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We developed Fluoride Shield to be the highest quality, highest standards because I use it every day and my family uses it every single day. Let's take a closer look at the ingredients that make up this special proprietary formula. Tamarind has been celebrated for its ability to immobilize toxic fluoride residues, while zeolites have a long history of attracting and holding toxic compounds. Enter fulvic acid, an excellent cleansing agent. Then we added the highest quality shilajit, a rare compound that is collected from the high mountains of the Himalayas. We topped it all off with the powerhouse herb cilantro that is intended to mobilize fluoride and other dangerous compounds for removal from the body. And the final touch to energize this formula is our proprietary nascent iodine. And as always, consult your physician as well because that is important. And finally, Fluoride Shield, Survival Shield, and all the products at InfoWarsLife.com grew out of my quest to try to find the very best compounds from God's cornucopia to protect myself and my family. And from our research, I believe we are bringing you the best, highest quality products. And you have that commitment from Alex Jones and the entire InfoWars crew. Do you know someone who's died of the mystery illness? I've been talking about this for more than 2 weeks on air. About 2.5 weeks ago, my cousin, very sweet person, good friend of mine, Peter Hammond, died. Got sick one day, died the next, not being able to breathe. Then his father, my uncle, who was taking care of him, my mother's brother, has now been sick for, I guess that was 3 weeks ago when Peter got sick, for 3 weeks, and has been in the hospital for over a week. So bad they had to sedate him and basically put him on oxygen with assisted breathing. And he's gotten a little bit better, but it's my mother and father are there right now, and it is just serious situation. Because I really love my uncle. You know, he's one of the people that helped wake me up at the New World Order. He's actually called in on the show over the years, William Hammond. And just pray for him out in East Texas. He's in a good hospital in Tyler. But the issue is I called it a mystery illness because I had swabs done on my children who were been sick for weeks. But because of vitamins and minerals and stuff, the fever never goes away. They're going around doing stuff. They're whatever. They just have a low fever and cough. My dad's been sick for a month, almost a month. My wife's been sick for 3 weeks. I have not gotten it by the grace of God. And I chalk it up to the Beyond Tangerine, the iodine, and the rest of it. Literally, because, I mean, I don't ever get sick anymore. I don't even get allergies anymore. I used to be racked by them. By the grace of God, I'm more healthy. I drink more water, too. That's part of it. But they tested him 2.5 weeks ago, the first time he went to the hospital. He didn't go to the hospital for about a week after his son died. And nothing came back. It's not flu. It's not bacteria. It's not. And I was saying, look for microplasms. And they're like, oh, wow. And then now they are finding some type of weird microplasm. I've got the literature at home in some people, but not in my uncle. And it's really weird because they say his lungs look like he's been smoking 5 packs of cigarettes his whole life. He's never been a smoker. He was always an athlete and was in athletics, I guess football and track at LSU, and a Vietnam veteran, a helicopter pilot with special forces, delivering special forces, shot down 6 times. He never told anybody about it. Me and my cousin dug into his trunk, his army trunk one time, just unbelievable black ops all over Vietnam and other countries over there. Just a really great guy. With his shirt off and shorts, he looks like he's in better shape than I am. He's a strong guy. And the reason we know, look, flu, they say, kills 35,000 people a year, but that's usually infirm people, and it's really about 10,000, the medical numbers show. Out of 300 million, that's not that many, but it is a problem. This is killing healthy people, people that are like oxes, young people, children, and there's no media coverage of it. There's no coverage until now. KHOU 11, we're putting it up on Infowars.com. This just came out last night. The lady just called in. Debbie, we're going to go back to her in a minute. My uncle believed it was chemtrails because, he was also a regular pilot and stuff and did all sorts of piloting down in Latin America and things. And he pointed out that the lower chemtrails were coming in and actually coming in and dissipating on the ground. The investigation of the mysterious illness in Montgomery County is expanding to other hospitals as doctors report similar cases. The new cases files are being reviewed for similarity for 8 of the Conroe regional medical centers that prompted a Montgomery County Health Department investigation. See, somebody finally has a brain at that health department. I mean, they'll take one SARS case and act like it's the end of the world, folks. They have international freakouts. This is something they can't identify, killing people. And not just people I know. Rob Dew's friend, one of his best friends, went to sleep, woke up dead. Overnight pneumonia. 4 of those 8 patients died, and 2 are still fighting for their lives at one hospital. 8 people come in, and 4 of them died. 2 are fighting for their lives. My uncle's fighting for his life right now at another hospital in East Texas. We don't currently have a diagnosis for what we call this illness. They can't discover it, folks. They take the cultures. They send them off. They can't find out what it is. And again, they can't find out what it is, so they're just calling it flu to push the vaccine. And folks, it came out in studies 5 years ago that flu vaccine was actually spreading it. You can look that up. And the more vaccines we take, the sicker we get. And then it gives it to other people and it incubates in them. Mysterious respiratory illness strikes southern Alabama. 2 dead. Oh, we just found another one. Oh, they never find out what it is, folks. That's because they don't want anybody to know. This stuff's all sent off to the CDC. Debbie, what do you think's going on here? See, because again, if it was even something that wasn't that big of a deal, they'd be fear-mongering it. They're not fear-mongering it. This is the same government that's done lethal biological releases in New York before in the subway. They don't want us to know. I mean, this is something special. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is the fact that since nobody's saying anything about this swine flu they created such a panic over it. And
oh, yeah, you'd have some diabetic with both their legs cut off, totally sick, die of it, and they'd put them all over the news. You got healthy people dying, and they're not talking about it.
Exactly, and since it was just simply out of Conroe, which I'm 15 miles from Conroe, it shocked me last night.
Ma'am, it's everywhere. It's all over the country. When I talk about this, the emails flood in. People are dying all over the place.
Yeah, and it's really sad because people are going to have to start looking into I mean, since they won't say anything about it, it makes you wonder why. Why are they not getting the CDC? Why is the CDC not saying anything? What is it? And how do you protect yourself from it? That's the biggest thing. I mean, is it airborne? Is it not? Is it by contact? How is it?
Well, yeah, and I mean, they can identify anything, whether it's H1N1 or whether it's bird flu, this or that. There's another one. Mother says mystery illness transferred son into dying patient in days. Same deal, respiratory. Actually, it's in local news, but not national news, showing there's a blackout, folks. If 2 people die in China of some weird new viral thing, it's all over the news. Well, something's going on. This needs to be investigated. Like tomorrow, I'm going to open the phones up in the first hour or 2 for people to talk about this. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I should have been on this. My gut told me it's something really nasty. Thank you so much, Debbie. Let's go to Ryan in Maine. Ryan, have you heard about people dying in your area?
No, not exactly quite like that, but I did have an interesting topic to talk about called Morgellons. Not sure if you've heard about it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of weird skin disorders and things going on. There's also schizophrenics that think, there's other stuff going on. But I think they've had medical doctors in Oklahoma confirm in surgeries that there is some type of weird nanotech bacterium growing in people.
Yeah, they just turn them away. They don't know what it is, so they just give them a little aspirin pack and say, have a nice day, basically. And thank God most of the stuff hasn't been happening around here in Maine. Maine's actually pretty quiet as far as the TSA checkpoints and highway checkpoints and things like that.
Well, there's a headline. Utah mom says healthy son, 19-year-old son, died from flu shot. 4 years ago, CBC reported you take the H1N1 shot, it doubles your chances of getting the regular flu. You take the H1N1 shot, study. H1N1 shot doubles chances of flu. Anybody can search that and see that. I mean, it's just amazing. God bless you. I appreciate your call. Let's talk to Nakia. I said I'd go to Nakia. Children Services took kids. It's a service to take your kids. It's a service to take your DNA. It's a service to take baby's blood at birth and lie about it for 30 years and get caught. Okay, so go ahead and tell us what happened, Nakia.
Well, it's kind of a really strange story. My husband and I have been married for 3 years, but neither one of us have kids together. Well, my son has been being raised by my husband, and they decided that in the state of Alaska, spanking your child is completely legal. Well, my son told his father that he had gotten a spanking from his stepdad.
Yeah, no, listen, it's legal everywhere. It's illegal to hurt them bodily, meaning actually hurting an organ. And but they lie. Just like guns are legal, they'll take you to jail for having a legal gun. But so what happened?
Well, they decided to take my son and my 2 stepsons into protective services, charge me with neglect because I work a full-time job.
Oh, yeah, well, you're supposed to do that.
In jail.
Sure, that's how it works. Kids think it's fun to go tattle, and then nowadays they get disappeared to a dungeon. And so I hope everybody's happy for calling the state. See how that turned out. I'm really sorry to hear that happen to you. So where's it going now?
Well, I'm fighting the state as hard as I possibly can. My son is currently living with his father, who is known to the state as a heroin addict.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's better to be with a heroin addict. See, they don't care. They want to break up a family. They look at the best family, want to break it up. It's better to be there than the state. And this is what I would do. Everybody better get together for the kids and decide to not do this with each other, because it's bad enough to have one parent taken from the other. What's really bad is the state will end up taking them, period. I'm out of time. God bless you, ma'am. 9 times out of... Folks, before you call the state on somebody, they better be getting beat with a tire iron. And I'm going to go further here. When they got real babies in crack houses, I've seen this literally over 100 times over the last 18 years on air reading the news. They'll have babies, black, white, doesn't matter. And if they're in a real crack house, in a crib, in dirty diapers, with flies all over them, a 5-year-old, weighing 15 pounds in some cases, concentration camp victims, they might get 1 piece of chicken a week. The CPS will go look at a child in a vat of feces and will not take them because they don't want to. They've already been soft-killed. They're not going to be adopted out. They're not going to get money putting them on drugs. They let them die because they're really a eugenics death camp, the health departments on average. That's what they were set up for 100 years ago. Doesn't mean everybody that works there is bad, but that's the main mission. And they will leave the children there. If your child's healthy and beautiful and smart and has black hair and green eyes, they will send in commandos to kidnap your kids. They can get a $500,000, $2 million, $3 million for your kid. If they're blonde-haired, blue-eyed, they only get $300,000, $400,000 for them. So now the minority kids that aren't as big as demand, they still want them to put them on drugs in the foster care system and call them special needs. They can get hundreds of thousands a year torturing them. So everybody gets, black children are mainly used for medical experiments. The state takes them for medical experiments. That's their favorite thing, is killing black children slowly with pesticides and other things. And I know I'm racist for being against it. You can look that up, actually. I'm not kidding. Not just AIDS drugs, but actual pesticide. And nobody got in trouble in New York. In fact, they got little 8-year-old kids right now there. They torture them real good.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the InfoWars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones Radio Show live as it happens.
So check it out, Infowars.com/show.